Good Friday morning. We are in weather alert today because of the storm that's already started to make some small impacts across southern New England, but it will have big impacts by the end of the day. So we're in weather alert all day long through tonight as well for heavy rain and gusty winds. Those gusty winds, especially as you're heading out the door, just make sure you're being cautious behind the wheel. Leave some extra time for both your morning and evening commutes or any errands that you were planning to run later. Just make sure you're not rushing. And if you haven't done it yet, I would make sure you bring in the holiday decor or at least tie it down. The winds are going to be incredibly gusty as we move later throughout the day. So we don't want anything blowing down the street. But right now, the numbers are not too exciting here, which is not a bad thing. It's an easier start to the morning, but you can already see some of the gusts in the 20s. We've had some in the 30s. And as we move into the later morning and early afternoon, we could see those numbers in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, even some up to 60 miles per hour for the coastline as we get into the middle of the day. For that reason, we have a high wind warning out for the entirety of the Rhode Island and Massachusetts coastline here. That's where those numbers are expected to be highest. We also have wind advisories inland. You can see the colors all over the map. It's not like anyone is exempt from the wind. It's just going to be bad versus worse is really what it comes down to. Now, in terms of the rain, we've seen a little already, a couple of spots with less than 1/10 of an inch with some showers overnight, but the heavier stuff and the more widespread rain is on its way. And by the time we get to about 7:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock, we'll see more in the way of that widespread rain, but not quite the heavy rain just yet. That's a little further behind, as you can see, with our cold front eventually bringing up the rear later in the afternoon. So let's time everything out. Again, as we get towards 7:30, 8:30, 9 o'clock, that's where we start to see more widespread, but not so heavy rain. 10, 11, noon, the heavy stuff starts to come down. And this is, by the way, where the winds start to get really bad as well. You can see our cold front following things up with this line of heavy rain moving across southern New England later into the afternoon. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, this line moves through and finally things start to taper off. But again, that's where things are getting really uncomfortable, not just with rain, but wind too. And I want to mention, this is not the focus of the forecast, so don't get too distracted by this, but I want you to know we may have a rumble of thunder as that front comes through. It would not be a shock to me considering the energy behind this storm. Now, as the bulk of the storm leaves, we have cold air rushing in. And essentially what's going to happen is it's going to treat the atmosphere like a washcloth, wringing out the moisture. That cold air can't hold as much moisture as warm air can, right? So we will see as a result here the chance of a shower, even a little wintry mix as the cold stuff really comes our way. Just something to note if you have any plans later tonight. Now, in terms of temperatures, this is, I'd say, the upside to today. It's not bitter cold. In fact, it's super warm. Temperatures right now in the 40s and 50s, and we'll stay in the mid to upper 50s all day long. But once that cold air comes in, it comes in quickly. You'll see the numbers dive into the 20s overnight. And with that, I am concerned for leftover moisture. Any leftover raindrops on roadways or cars or anything else could freeze. So as you're heading out the door tomorrow morning, maybe you have some Saturday errands to run ahead of the holiday week. Please be cautious. There could be some ice out in the roads, especially in untreated areas. Now, Saturday itself, it's actually looking all right. We have some sunshine on tap, temperatures around 40 degrees, back toward the average for this time of year. It'll be breezy, but overall a decent day. There is another disturbance coming through on Sunday. Not a lot of moisture with this one, but you will notice the difference in temperature once we go from Sunday afternoon in the mid 40s to the low 30s on Monday. It's like a little blast of reality that winter is here. In fact, Sunday is the first official day of astronomical winter on the 21st. It's the winter solstice, and I think Mother Nature wants to celebrate once we get to Monday afternoon.